Hi and welcome to another Charge Attack podcast. This is actually episode 5. I'm here with Luke.
This is actually episode 5.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
And I'm Ben, and we've got quite a lot to go through today. Some of them being Sony, PlayStation 5, some news has come out about that, and Inside Xbox was on the 16th of April. But first of all, World War Z came out on Tuesday. Luke, you've had a little bit of a sneak peek at the game, or a little bit of footage?
I've seen a few episodes, yeah.
Take us through it.
I've seen enough.
You've seen enough?
In my opinion, it's a less fun Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't offer anything new from any zombie game that I've ever seen or played before.
Yeah.
You kill zombies, you pick up a range of weapons, you deploy weapons in certain areas, machine guns.
Is it third person or first person?
Third person.
Third person.
So.
And is it? Can you tell that it's been taken from like Left 4 Dead? Because I know that obviously some of the original guys from Left 4 Dead helped work towards this one.
It does feel like it. You've got episodes with certain chapters within, and there's no real like main story. You seem to be just plunked into the world, and you just sort of just deal with shit.
Yeah.
The zombie mechanics are slightly different to what we've seen before with the horde modes that we've got with like where it is they will come in waves like over cars and things like that, and there is a lot.
Yeah.
But when you've got like a massive machine gun, you're just ploughing them down, and they don't do much.
Yeah.
You can get auto turrets. There's deployable electrical fencing you can put on the floor to stun them.
Yeah.
It
sounds like a more in-depth version, if anything, but
in depth to a degree, but it doesn't make it more fun.
Are there any of the different types of zombies, like boomers,
or
like grapplers,
there's a shrieker or something that summons more zombies.
Yeah.
There's a toxic one. There's a guy in a hazmat suit. There's a big brawler guy, just a guy who's been wearing Kevlar armor that got infected. There's a creeper that like jumps on you.
Yeah.
And then there's just the same little ones that just pop in.
It sounds like everything you're describing sounds like Left 4 Dead anyway.
Imagine Left 4 Dead without almost a cartoony sort of art style to it, the characters. A little bit less than that, more realistic. You can heal each other and yourself, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
That's about it.
There isn't really too much. Nothing to shout, scream about, or run home about.
It's not a game of the film. It's sort of set after the film where humanity's fighting back against the zombies sort of thing. So I appreciate where they were going with it. It did sort of fill that bit at the end. But at the gut of it, it's a zombie game.
It's just a standard zombie game.
It's a standard zombie
and there's not really too much to shout and scream about. But how much is it?
I don't know. I didn't buy it.
So I believe it's at a reduced price of around about £40, which is weirdly cheap for the UK prices of brand new games.
Yeah,
now.
Usually we're pushing sort of 50 odd nowadays, 60 for some major releases, but no, I'm much more looking forward to Days Gone.
Yeah, so that obviously comes out in literally just over a week's time.
Yep.
So obviously that's gonna just completely overshadow.
I think that set a very good expectation of what this game's got to come. So anything else that's come before that,
unless PlayStation do somehow mess it up and it's not any good.
Well, they could have shown all the good bits from the trailers, so now playing the game is redundant. But
fair enough. Then.
Holding out on hope.
So World War Z, consensus is it's all right. Probably it's something you might want to pick up if you're bored and you enjoy those sorts of games. But at the core of it, it's less of a Left 4 Dead than it should have been.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably a bit of a laugh with your mates, maybe trying to deal with that amount of enemies, but
other than that,
a bit of a one-trick pony.
Yeah. Fair enough then. The other news that came out, and we did talk about it last week on the podcast, is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which finally got its teaser trailer. Or got its actual trailer, on Saturday, which it looks good so far from what they've shown. They've what you should do is you should definitely go and view it, because obviously it's quite a big and important game. Go and have a look at the trailer. It's easy to find on YouTube. We'll put a link in the description as well. First thoughts?
I'm quite interested in it. It's not the sort of game I was expecting it to be. They confirmed it's very story driven, which I was glad to hear.
Yeah.
But it's not a case you're picking up as a Jedi that knows everything already. You play as this guy who's sort of almost half learning, which could be interesting, because I've never played a Star Wars game where you've had that sort of gradual build up and that learning curve. You just, here's your lightsaber, here's your force, go for it.
Yeah.
So that could add a nice aspect to the game. And they mentioned that it's not going to be a hack and slash sort of
it's
thing.
not a button masher at all.
Which a lot of the Star Wars games, the one the Force Unleashed very much was just push random buttons till something cool happens. So it would be nice to see a more almost like combat sort of wary game.
Yeah, and it is something that you can, obviously with it not being a button masher, it means it's something that you can get progressively better at it.
Yes.
So if you are someone that's put 20 hours into the game, chances are you're going to be a lot better than someone that's put a couple of hours into the game, because you've learned the mechanics, you've learned how to do this and how to do that. Obviously enemies aren't just, you can't just run up to them and just take them out and whatnot, which is absolutely great. You have to actually think about your approach, or in a sort of senses, it's almost like a little bit Dark Soulsy, where you might die a couple of times.
Yeah, you might have to
while
learn.
you're learning how to take on this person. Unfortunately, they didn't show any gameplay footage, which is a little bit upsetting.
It would have been nice to see a bit, but for now,
especially with like how like modern games are, and like so many times people are let down by these standard trailers, where they make these games look incredible and so awesome, and then people don't see the gameplay footage maybe, or it somehow slips past them, and it's not quite what it looks like. And to be fair, they've got a lot of money behind them. Respawn have got a good reputation as well for creating games, mainly multiplayer games, which is quite weird that they're doing a single player game.
They did Apex, so this is a bit of a change for them, but they've said they might have a hidden talent we just don't know about yet. Yeah,
so it could be like really, really good.
Yep.
And that's what everyone's hoping for. There are a couple of little iffy bits, and the problem is it's still got EA under it or over it, which is a big worry. And EA did make a statement as well to go along with this, which said that they're promising that there's no loot boxes, there's no microtransactions and anything like that, which, don't get me wrong, is great, and it's always good to hear that.
But should they have to say that?
Every time when EA puts a post out where they say, oh yeah, this game has no loot boxes, look at us, it's just sort of like,
damage is done, mate.
I was going to say, you're the ones that you are the company that is the reason why you'd have to make a statement like that, and you're the one sat there saying it so smugly, like, yeah, our game doesn't have microtransactions. It's just sort of like, well, no game needs it realistically.
Exactly.
But so far, it looks cool. I'm really liking the look of it, but let's see what gameplay.
Let's get some gameplay trailers out,
and hopefully that'll be shown at E3.
Yep.
And obviously when that comes out, it'll be on all consoles and everything like that, as well as PC, which leads us right onto our next segment, which is to talk about Sony. So Sony had Destiny 2 as sort of like one of their forefront games. So obviously they paid this exclusive package essentially to Bungie, where they get some of the game content just a week earlier or a month earlier, depending on what it was, earlier than Xbox and PC and whatnot. And essentially when Bungie were making Destiny 2, what they were wanting to do is they did put up an offer to essentially to be able to transfer the characters between consoles. So say, for example, Destiny 1 wasn't on PC, but if you had a Destiny 1 character on Xbox, but then you wanted to play Destiny 2 on PlayStation, you could actually, what they were proposing is that you could bring your character from Xbox across to PlayStation or vice versa. That was something that Bungie planned and they wanted to put into their game. However, Sony locked it down.
Sony have always had this issue with they are just so like, no, me,
Yeah,
no one else. With like always other cross-platforming, even with other games with other consoles, they've always been like the last one to either give it up, or everyone's always asked them first.
Yeah, they're normally they seem like they are their own one-man army. They like to do things by themselves. They don't want to in any way give credit. I mean, I can't see why they would do this, especially in the sense that most people were playing on PlayStation. If somebody had already started up an Xbox account and they were like, oh, but the better deals are on PlayStation, I want to move my Destiny account to PlayStation, then that would be encouraging people to leave Xbox and go to PlayStation, go to Sony. Yeah. So it seems very weird. There's probably more to it than that, and there's probably, like, depending on how you look at statistics and whatnot, there's probably the reason Sony wouldn't have done that is got to be to do with money. At the end of the day, everything is. So it is a weird standpoint. But like you're saying, like with crossplay, you can't. Sony have only given into it because essentially so many people were bringing.
Everyone else was
doing it. So everyone else was happy about it. And because Sony stood out because they didn't do it, then they probably started to see a few little drops here and there where people are, no, we won't play Fortnite on PlayStation because if we play it on PlayStation, we can't play cross-platform.
So Fortnite, that's cross so many platforms now. They had to join in with that, otherwise they're cutting off potentially quite large of their fan base.
Yeah, so dick move by Sony there, but
I mean, who's playing Destiny 2 these days anyway?
Yeah, I mean, Destiny 2 didn't come out very well in the long run anyway, which is a shame. But now that they've obviously lost Activision, they hopefully when Destiny 3 gets announced at E3 maybe. That is like that is super tall hopes. That is, you never know. It could be something great. But what Sony have done really well, by the sounds of it, is announced some of their PlayStation 5 capabilities. I'm
excited about this. This is good.
Yeah. So there was it was an article done through the Wired, I believe is how it's pronounced. What? Yeah, so it was a Wired article, and they spoke to Mark Cerny, and this is a direct quote from him. Okay, Mark Cerny would like to get one thing out of the way right now. The video game console that Sony has spent the past 4 years building is no mere upgrade. Okay, so what he's trying to big up, obviously the big hype for the PlayStation 5. Everyone knows that it's going to be sort of around the corner. It's going to be 2020. It's not going to be this year.
No.
It's too early. They would have announced it probably by now as well to say it's coming in 8 months' time and whatnot. But we'll go over a couple of the things that he talked about and what he said. So one of the massive improvements that he wanted to do was audio. So he was saying that you can't feel as immersed with current audio in video games, and this probably goes across all the consoles, even PC. So what they've done is they've focused a lot of their time and effort onto making the audio much more immersive, which is cool. A lot more 3D sounds, how it reacts with your environment and whatnot. I mean, audio has never been too much of a big staple for me.
It's almost like a subconscious element to gaming. When it's not there, it's all you can hear is the silence.
Yeah.
And you put it back on again, and it's like
if a game does audio correctly, then generally then you don't notice the audio sort of thing, and then only if it does it amazingly well will you be there like, oh, I love this
of the audio. Sort of you get it's almost like playing the game within the rush of the music just heightens that experience. The audio can break a game without you even realizing it.
Yeah. So basically what he's on the audio front is massive improvements by the sounds of it. He didn't give too much of an example, but he was saying that it's gonna immerse you so much more and bring you so much more into it, which if they're like much warmer sounds and much more encouraging sounds, especially in a lot of games where volume and sound is so important, it would be like really interesting. I'd love to see like some of these adventure games that Sony seem to be knocking out of the park at the moment. If they bring something where they make it even more immersive than it already is, then they should definitely go for it. The other thing that they did mention, and this is something where we have got an example to talk about as well, and this is pretty big news, is their most proud work is the adjustments to the hard drive to improve loading times. So what they've done is essentially put a SSD, which is a solid state drive.
That's becoming a big thing now in gaming and certainly in PC.
Which obviously it means that because there's no moving parts, it's direct access. So obviously all the data can move from the SSD to the console, to your screens, everything like that just moves so much quicker. Okay?
Yep.
And they did an example of this where he brought up a screen and he showed what this is capable of. And they loaded up Spider-Man, the PS4 version, obviously.
Yep.
And
good game.
He was just sort of like, okay. And they did a test on it. And they wanted to show how much it would change the fast travel. So obviously took it to one spot in the game, said, okay, I'm going to fast travel to this spot in the game. Okay. So on the standard PlayStation 4, so this is the first one. So this isn't PlayStation Pro or the PlayStation 4 that's had a little bit of improvements or upgrades. It's just the standard PlayStation 4, and it took 15 seconds, which is not
you wouldn't really notice 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's not. There's nothing really too much to it, sort of thing. 15 seconds is quite good. And obviously with this solid state drive, when I was reading this, I was sat there going, 15 seconds. With a solid state drive, they've got all of these improvements and everything like that. I was thinking, do you reckon they've brought it down to like 10 seconds?
Halved it.
Halved it at a push sort of thing. You'd think, oh yeah, that would be quite good. No, what they've done is they've taken it from 15 seconds load time to 0.8 seconds with the new development kit. Running on slow.
This is mad. Like, you're not going to feel like you've even clicked the button before you've done it.
So, which is just insane. So obviously the way these things work is Sony have obviously got these development kits so that companies can start working with these sorts of things. These development kits they've already put out to a lot of these companies so that they can use them to start creating content for PlayStation 5, because it's not a secret. It is in the works somewhere. We're just waiting for it now.
Yeah.
But then when they're coming out and they're saying that this is running on low speed. This isn't been built for speed. This is just a load time that they've just put into it.
It's just what they came out with.
It's insane. It's so good. And that is just incredible, and it's going to affect obviously not just the load times there. It will affect how the game renders as well.
Is it worth putting it in high power mode? If you're getting low in low power status, you're getting 0.8 of a second. I mean, putting it in high power, you're only going to take off half a second.
I mean, it would just happen instantly.
Exactly, you're not going to notice any difference. It's absolutely mad. It's going to take gaming to a whole new level.
Yeah,
we're going to see no lag, no tear.
I mean, this is obviously with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's quite a graphic-intensive game for the moment.
It's a big, expansive game.
It looks lovely. It's amazing. It just goes to show what could we do in future. I mean, give it a couple of years into the middle of the PlayStation 5's life cycle, our load times might be back up to sort of 5 or 6 seconds.
Low screens will be a thing of the past.
Because everything will just be so in depth and detailed. It depends how it comes across. Which is just unbelievable.
It's incomprehensible. To see that would and play that in a game.
Yeah,
it's madness. And a lot of games could definitely benefit from this. Anthem being one of them.
Oh god,
the load screens on that were. I appreciate it's a lot to load, but it was long, so that would benefit to no end on this console.
Yeah.
So, as I said, load screens are slowly becoming a thing of the past anyway. But with this, they'll be redundant.
That's what I think everybody
seamless
would want,
sort of gaming, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Once you're in, you're in.
So that's some pretty cool. There were a couple of other things in the article, of which we will leave a link down below. That they didn't really bring too much light towards, which I thought was quite important things. Is apparently they've confirmed that the PlayStation 5 will take physical media, so discs are still going to be around, which is great. I don't think anybody there is some select people reserved in hell, like Google, that think that we live in an all digital world right now.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that physical media is back. I love the physical stuff. I mean, the physical stuff will never. I don't think the physical stuff would ever go. Even
what else do you put on your bookshelves that aren't books?
I was gonna say, I've got no books.
Yeah, no books.
No. And then the other thing as well is that it should have backwards compatibility.
That's massive as well.
Again, they didn't go into too much depth with this, so it could be something as simple as, oh, it will play PS5 and PS4 games, which, to be fair, is a really big step as it is. That is definitely something that I would like my PlayStation... If the PlayStation 5 has backwards compatibility to at least PlayStation 4, it's more of a day one appeal to me.
Definitely, because it would be the similar situation with the Xbox One. There was just no games for it on launch. So
we've discussed this before, haven't we? It's good. It would be amazing if they could do back to all five generations of PlayStation, like PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It'd be incredible. Like, they could, for me then, they could start just repackaging and re-releasing these old classic games. You don't even have to make them brand new or anything like that, but something like, say, for example, Ape Escape, or I can't think of any other PS1 games right now.
The Spyro ones.
The original Spyros, the original Crash Bandicoot. That's already been done,
the Spyro trilogy that came out afterwards.
Yeah.
All those games that were on PlayStation 2 that have just been, like, lost.
Yeah, because you just can't play them anywhere, really.
I've got my PS2 for the choice select games that I just can't let go just yet.
Yeah.
But with this, I can get rid of that and just have one console, because getting out that SCART cable for a PlayStation 2...
Yeah,
it's a bit of a time machine.
It's you're gonna have to probably start getting adapters and whatnot. For
exactly, TVs
well.
will not have capability to run these old consoles at some point.
Yeah, they have said as well that I believe the PlayStation 5 is going to be running in native 8K or be working with it anyway, which is all good and well, but 8K is not available to the general household right now.
No,
the rich people that are on a good amount of money, they could probably afford one of those TVs right now, but 8K is nowhere near.
I've just got 4K.
Average, yeah, I was going to say your average consumer, which is absolutely perfect. So, like, whilst it's still early doors, we still haven't seen like concept designs or anything like that of it at the moment. The way it is going and the way it is sounding is going to be really, really interesting and really cool. I can't wait for more news. It's a shame that they're not at E3 this year. Because obviously that would have been a perfect time to give some more news. But obviously they've got other plans, so I've got to wait for the next PlayStation State of Play or Direct, whatever.
I'll definitely be selling my PS4 to get the PS5 though, because I imagine this is going to come with a hefty price tag.
Yeah, that is the other downside, isn't it? It's obviously they're stronger. Like with these sorts of like solid state drives and whatnot, one of the reasons they're not into them is blimmin' how much they flipping cost.
Yeah,
and
they're quite new because they just didn't have the durability as HDD did. So
yeah, and you've got when you've got Red Dead Redemption 2, which takes up 100 gigabytes of your storage, you can't have a 1 terabyte solid state drive. You just can't do it.
Nope.
Because that'll be 10 games.
Games are getting massive these days.
Yeah, I mean the big AAAs are.
Yeah, it's less about what's on the disc and what you get off the disc first.
Yeah, and to be fair, most games you just every single time, even if you have the disc and whatnot, there's so many patches and updates and downloads and everything like that. You'd end up downloading the game twice over as it is. Price tag wise, I reckon, by the sounds of it, I reckon it's heading towards the £500 mark. Which is
it must
which
because the
ridiculous.
Xbox One X was 500 when it came out.
Yeah, when the first Xbox One X was.
And so this is going to have far better stats and figures than what we've got on the Xbox One X. So we're going to be good couple hundred on top, I reckon, easy potentially.
Yeah, but they don't want to break it too high because obviously as soon as if they go even touching £500 mark is a little bit ludicrous.
Eliminate a massive their market, yeah.
Yeah, and this is essentially where I think Xbox have gone in a certain sense, have gone wrong because they've brought out their Xbox One X console a year after the PlayStation Pro was brought out. Is anybody that bought an Xbox One X console, if they announce their new console next year, all the people that bought an Xbox One X just 2 years ago,
mate,
they're then gonna be told, no, you've not got the latest and greatest console anymore.
It's gonna be a sting, definitely.
Yes.
Whereas between the PlayStation 4, the Pro's been out for a fair while now.
Well, an extra year, which does make quite a bit of difference.
I'd say so. Yeah, consoles don't last as long as they used to anyway. So
yeah, but realistically, as a summarization, keep an eye on the PlayStation 5 because that looks like it's going to be nothing but fun. Next thing just to talk about, just to quickly go over, is obviously there was a fire in France at Notre Dame, which is obviously not very nice at all. Assassin's Creed Unity has the Notre Dame church in it, which is really cool, and everyone was referencing it and whatnot. So what Ubisoft did is they've now made Assassin's Creed free to download. So Assassin's Creed Unity this is, and it is up until the 25th of April, and it's only on PC though, which is a bit of a pain, but it's still being nice. Is essentially they're just doing it as free support. They're letting you download it and play it for free, which is nice.
Yeah,
that's quite decent. They've also donated 500,000 euros towards it, which is, again, that's quite cool. That's quite nice. It's very supportive. It's always good to hear about.
For a game company against this sort of thing, there's not that immediate connection. So
so they're giving they're giving support and whatnot, which is nice. And it's always good to see the games industry making good strides in the real world as well as in the virtual world. So if you've got a PC, give that a download, get it for free while it lasts, and show your support as well. One of the last things that happened this week, and it happened actually just a couple of days ago, was Inside Xbox. Luke, do you want to take us through it?
So they discussed a lot of things regarding their console and their new pass they're coming out, Ultimate Game Pass as they're calling it.
Yeah.
And basically some of the few bits that are coming with it, plus some new and upcoming games. So we are going to sort of start with the game bits first, because obviously that's the bit that everyone is obviously going for.
Sea of Thieves was announced first, a new update.
So I've discussed so quite a few updates, free to everyone, which I was quite surprised about, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Tall Tales, I think it was meant to be called. Yeah, I think it was meant to be called. Which introduces fishing and harpoons on the front of your boats. And cooking, yeah.
I'd never played this game. You have, Ben.
So I've played Sea of Thieves, and that was so lackluster when it first came out that I've had a sour patch for it ever since. They show you all of this footage, which is really cool and interesting, but this is all. It all looks like stuff that should have been in the game when it first got released. This is my issue with just games of a service. They're adding a lot, and don't get me wrong, it is free and it keeps the game sort of fresh. So adding things like fishing is like a completely new skill, completely new way to make money. That's absolutely brilliant. How long until that gets boring?
Yeah, I mean,
you're introducing one little mechanic is not gonna do you over until the next big update.
Yeah.
And then harpoons on the front of the boats. That's really cool. But that is definitely something that should have been
very standard.
Yeah, that should have been in the game a long time ago anyway. And then by this point, as they should be saying, now you can have harpoons on the underside of your boat so that you can harpoon against a kraken, and then you can ride the kraken around the map. That's what should be out. This is a year down the line now.
Yeah, they should be pushing.
They should be pushing for interesting and fun content. Don't give me something like a standard little harpoon on the front of the boat so you can hold on to other boats. That's cool and all. What we should be at the point now where you can train your own mega shark to attack other people.
I want a pet kraken, please.
Yeah, a pet kraken, and it will just start whipping people in the water. That's what they should be doing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's positive stuff. They're bringing out more stuff for you, and it is free. But this is the reason why I don't pick up this game again. Is I'm so sour about this. It is unreal.
Everything's a bit too little, too late in your eyes now, which is fair.
I put the best part of about 200 hours into that over the first few months that came out, and it was just problem after problem after problem. That it was just like they may have addressed now, but
damage is done, mate.
They've lost my interest too much. They're gonna have to do something incredible to pull me back. But obviously, it is free to play on Xbox Game Pass, so that's quite interesting. Not for me, but if you are somebody that likes Sea of Thieves, Tell us,
hardcore pirate fans.
yeah. Tell us how this makes you feel. The Xbox SAD. Xbox
They
SAD.
really should have thought about that. They really should have just taken 5 minutes and just looked at that and then fired the PR guy.
This has a release date of May the 7th. Obviously, most people knew about this already. They had quite a funny little trailer for it, I thought.
Of all the trailers and things where we've seen, this one legit made me giggle a bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't cringy.
Yeah, it was just a nice little humorous little trailer. Somebody had a bit of a laugh.
It's not a serious console, so they haven't gone with, it's all bells and whistles. This is it.
This is just an alternative way of playing your games.
Yeah.
So that's quite cool. It retails at $249, which is, they say, is cheaper by $50 because of the optical drive. Now, in the UK, that's pretty much the price of a standard one already. So we've had this. We just find that just a bit strange. I bought my Xbox One S, 3 years ago now, and I got mine for £200, which is approximately $249. So where on earth has that price drop come from? They must have risen the price.
But you get 3 months for £1.
Yeah. So with obviously with this Xbox SAD that's coming out on May 7th, again $249. It does come with 3 games, which is Forza 3, Sea of Thieves, and Minecraft. Of which I'm really salty about Sea of Thieves, so.
Salty seas.
Yeah, pun intended. And then as well, if you do pre-order this console, you get a great Xbox Pass deal when you connect to the internet of 3 months for $1, or in the UK it'll be 3 months for £1. I get this deal come up on my Xbox One S.
I'm pretty sure I've seen get Xbox Game Pass for £1.
And I'm not. You're not making this very exclusive to people, are you, Xbox? If I'm getting the deal come up now, and this is blimmin' 2 weeks away, and I'm not even an Xbox SAD owner, so little bit out of touch, but it's an alternative way to play a game.
They did say it's a good introduction into getting to the Xbox games.
Yeah,
but do we need it?
I think the sales on that console are going to be less than I think they hope, because I can't imagine too many people are wanting to willingly go to just an all digital console.
Yeah,
I'd rather pay the extra $50, or in our case,
if I watch a film on it afterwards, I want to. Yeah.
If I wanted to watch one of my DVDs or something like that, I can
Blu-ray,
then put them in.
DVD,
Blu-ray, DVD,
Unheard
same sort
of
of thing. Like, I can still watch those things if I had an optical drive.
Exactly.
I'd rather just pay the extra. But obviously, some people are different. Some people want to go all digital, which is fine. But if you're going all digital, why not just have a drive there?
I've never met anyone who said I just want a digital console.
Yeah, I've never. So it'd be interesting to see what the sales are like for this.
Yeah, it'll be one to keep an eye on.
Be a very, very loose eye on it, because I generally.
It feels
Xbox makes some weird decisions.
It really feels like it's a console to help push their Game Pass.
Yeah,
and that's all it's there to do.
Which is great, but
do you need a console for that though?
You don't need this.
Yeah.
Spend more money and time focusing on getting more content out there and greater reasons for us to stay with you, Xbox.
Yeah.
The other thing they did show was Rage 2 exclusive footage. What did you think?
That game doesn't know what it is.
No, I thought pretty much exactly the same.
It's like Crysis, Halo, Borderlands. That's all I can see in that game.
Yeah, so then
amalgamation of all these abilities and guns thrown into one, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's portrayed to be this massive new thing. It's just like every single one of those abilities I've seen in any other game. Mm-hmm. Throwable void grenades, Destiny, ground pound, Halo, Mario, deployable cover.
Halo again.
Even in Destiny 2 had deployable cover.
That is a very good point. Yeah, it's the way they were talking about it is like all these like interesting ways to win these combats, and the guy who was demonstrating it He was like, "Oh, this is going to give you so much versatility and so much options when it comes to combat." When the abilities he shows is a punch, a grenade, and a jump, and that's it. And that's what he showed.
Game breaking.
It's not. It wasn't,
Never has anyone
I
ever
wasn't
thrown
too
a
great.
grenade.
I mean, Bethesda have got sort of like, well, not in the past 6 months, but they've got quite a good reputation, so they should be able to do something really nice with this. But it's not shaping up to anything special.
Hopefully what they've shown us is like the entry level skills, like it's the basics, and it goes to another level.
But this is again the other argument is, why are you showing us just the entry level boring stuff then? Give me a reason to want to pick up your game. It just looks just sort of okay. Somewhat interesting. The notes that I've put down here is just sort of,
it's very Borderland-esque with a very sci-fi.
Yeah.
It feels very like to have such a technologically advanced character.
Yeah.
In a post-apocalypse environment, as they're wording it.
Yeah.
Just seems out of place. Like, how did you get this?
Well, I guess that's sort of like the idea behind. This is where like our conflict comes in, is the fact that you've got Borderlands 3 coming out in September.
The penultimate of shooter-looter apocalypse.
This is what, if people were looking at these side by side, you would just all go Borderlands 3. It's not looking like a standout game at the moment, which is a shame, because Rage 1 wasn't a standout game either.
I think I reckon it would have had a lot more sort of look to it in terms of interest if we didn't have that Borderlands up on the horizon just waiting to descend upon us. I think it sort of lost its...
Which is quite weird, because Battleborn had that same issue with Overwatch, where you had Battleborn coming out and then Overwatch coming out, and Overwatch just completely overshadowed it. And then you've got, and weirdly, Battleborn was made by the same people who make Borderlands. But obviously Battleborn didn't do very well. Now, obviously, not quite the roles
better
are
than
reversed,
Paladins, though. I mean, come on.
So it's not looking that great. The shooting looks sort of fun. There's a couple of funky mechanics. Some bits that they did show was quite cool, like an enemies being launched up and held in the air, and then you just run underneath them and shoot them. It looks sort of cool. And then a major part of Rage is supposed to be the vehicles. I just thought they looked really clunky.
They had a bike, they had a car, they had a flying drone jet thing. Nothing.
That's it. That's all we've really got to say on that. That's it.
They haven't showed many of the vehicles.
Show us something. Show us what they can show us. Like, they showed a bit where it's just sort of, you can attack other vehicles, and it was just the guy in the vehicle just driving along and then just shunted to the right, and then it just like exploded the other car. It's like, well,
a vehicle is great, but give that vehicle something else. Give it a weapon, an ability, or something.
Make it
that makes it
interesting.
worth using over a different vehicle.
Yeah.
Give it a EMP pulse or something that...
And this is the thing, is the game might actually have that, but why they're not showcasing any of it? I mean, this is the thing. It's obviously with Fallout 76 and everyone's a little bit hot on Bethesda's tail. Something like this needs to be doing quite well. So far, I'm not going to pre-order it. I'm not going to recommend pre-ordering it. It's got quite a quick turnaround. This game is coming out on May the 14th. But like we said, it's just... If you love those kinds of games, and it looks good enough and the reviews are good enough, definitely pick it up, and it'll keep you going until Borderlands comes out, and then you can just drop it and sell it. The moment Borderlands is out, you just want to get rid of it.
No game should be a placeholder for another game, but unfortunately...
But that's what it's looking like at the moment.
Yeah, it's...
May do something incredible, may do a big turnaround, but so far, not looking good.
It's a very cynical podcast, this one. Yeah, everything's shit.
Everything's not looking good. On a more positive note is... Xbox did announce that there is another couple of games coming to backwards compatibility.
This is good. Old games are good, new games are shit.
I'll let you talk about this one then.
So, Ninja Gaiden, I've loved those games.
Ninja Gaiden 2.
Ninja Gaiden 2, sorry. Yes, I remember playing that back when it was on the original Xbox, or Xbox 360, sorry. It was a bitch of a game back then. I remember playing it and struggling.
Yeah.
Whether that's just me being green at games or what. But...
You're not asking for an easy option, are you?
No, I don't. I want it to be like that again, and I'm so glad to see that coming back, because it very much was a game that sort of just dropped off
Yeah.
it sort of really came to that we had a sequel to a degree.
Yeah.
But again, back on the original. I keep saying the original Xbox. I mean the 360. That's how.
Yeah.
So, and then we had a few guest appearances of Ryu Hayabusa in. Is it Dead or Alive?
Yeah.
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 Anime girls fighting each other.
Yeah. That sounds like Dead or Alive to me.
And that was sort of where it sort of stopped. I think it had a few games on the Switch, on like some handheld consoles, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But don't ask me what they
Obviously, they're not that memorable.
No, I never had any of them. So it's nice to see that coming back. I'm not looking for a new game of it. I'm very much looking forward to going back to that one again because I've forgotten a lot of the enemies in that. So
it's like the very original Dark Souls. These games knocked you about loads. There was no training to them at all, pretty much. And then what they did train you for just would never prepare you. It's a little bit like Dark Souls, but obviously a little bit before it, weirdly. And some have even said that it's even harder. But that's quite cool. But that's backwards compatibility.
Exactly.
So you can either buy it from the Microsoft Store or you can buy it online, get a second-hand disc, and then put that in your Xbox.
Dust off mine. See if I can find it somewhere.
See if you can find it. Then they enhanced a couple of games for Xbox One X. So these are some backwards compatible games that are now have had they've been basically upscaled a little bit, enhanced to make them look prettier on the Xbox One X. They've got Splinter Cell, Double Agent, Conviction, and Blacklist, and Fable 2 and 3. I think they actually did look quite good. From what they showed, it just looks like the environments are just that little bit brighter.
Like crisp edging and things.
The corners and things like that. It looks like it should do.
All the polygons.
Yeah, it's something small like that, and that's where Xbox are doing really well. I'd love to go back through the original Fables.
I love Fable, those games.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing half the time, but I loved it.
That's sort of, I think, the glamour of those games. They were never as good as what they were supposed to be, which is what I found always really weird. Like they had sort of almost like a semi-negative following of people where they're just sort of this was supposed to be better, but it's well, it's still a good game though.
Yeah.
So, but I've never played any of the Splinter Cells. I'm not very good at stealth.
I do tend to lose my patience.
Which is obvious in Sekiro.
It does tend to make games feel a lot longer than they're supposed to because you're literally crawling at a snail's pace.
Yeah.
But it can be fun.
Yeah. And then the last game they showed as well was some more Warhammer Chaos Bane, which comes out on June 4th, which is quite cool. And it's a top-down dungeon crawler, which is really good. Warhammer's done such a variation. They've done a first-person shooter. They've done a real-time strategy game. They're now doing a dungeon crawler. I quite like it. It looks cool. I do quite like the very mong-outy games. I think the best part about it is couch co-op. I love couch co-op games like that. It's not something I'll get on straight away. Again, there's too much other stuff that's out and about to play at the moment. But that is good fun. It looks good. It looks like it should be.
I really enjoy those sorts of games, and I really enjoyed Diablo. This is a very similar style to it.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting, definitely, to see how this one sort of picks up.
And so if you wanted to try it, there is actually a beta going on April 18th.
Yes.
You can sign up for a beta, which would be quite cool. Nice and free.
Gives you a little test before you go and buy it.
Yeah. And that was pretty much it for this week of news.
Yeah, lots of news about news.
Yeah. And we're all very negative about it. Or just Sea of Thieves mainly. Yeah. Just that game. But yeah, other than that, I've been playing a little bit of Sekiro, a little bit of Call of Duty. Anything from you? What have you been up to?
I tried the new Overwatch.
The new Overwatch?
New Overwatch mission they released. The new co-op story mode bit.
That sounds really cool.
You know, they did the Blackwatch and all that before?
Nope, I didn't.
Well, you should now go and play it. They've done little story modes. You get a little cutscene and everything. You get a choice of 4 characters to pick from.
Yeah.
And you got a little sort of set mission to go through. And there's different difficulty levels.
Did you say it's co-op?
It's co-op.
Well, then, do you have to be online co-op or couch co-op?
No, you have to play it with your friends online.
Ah.
But yeah.
You know, I've got Overwatch. I could play that with you. Oh, we'll go and do that. We'll do that later on tonight.
You got different levels of difficulties. You've got the set 4 characters, and you can also do all heroes, where you can then play as any of the other characters, but do the same story mission, which does make it a little bit more interesting. Then you do get a select few.
Fair enough.
But it just adds a new.
Yeah,
to Overwatch.
I mean,
It gets you off the
they're
multiplayer.
keeping Overwatch going strong. Every single month they seem to be bringing out just something just to keep it going just a little bit longer.
Yeah,
I know they're not gonna do an Overwatch 2 anytime soon, but
they need to.
Yeah. Well, they don't need to, and also, but the problem is sooner or later it's gonna get a little bit stale. I mean, the esports is the only thing that's keeping it going, isn't it? I mean, it is still really popular. Don't get me wrong, but like it is one of those things where people are now just dropping off it.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people they're done with the gameplay of it and the irritating teammates and things, or they've reached the highest level. They'll come back for maybe the weekly reset or the competitive reset. They'll get that in, and then they'll drop it again.
Yeah,
so,
fair enough. Right, and that's pretty much it from us this week.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for listening.
See you in the next one.
See you next week. You enjoy yourself.